need to have a discussion. We need to have a discussion about Malachi Flynn. Showing a lot of promise, albeit in pro-ams and like whatever scrimmages in the offseason. But like, can this guy actually be the backup point guard that we've been wanting to be on the Raptors for the last 2 years? Malachi Flynn has just been tearing up all these pro-ams. He had like 55 points or something at the Toronto pro-am. He had 73 points at the crossover pro-am. He was the Mountain West Conference Player of the Year the year he got drafted. He was also the Defensive Player of the Year. There's undoubtedly talent within Malachi Flynn. And especially near the end of the 2020-2021 season, we saw flashes of that potential. But it's been way too inconsistent to the point where last season with the Raptors, he was really only limited to garbage time. And when Fred VanVleet got injured, instead of using him, we went out and signed Armani Brooks in free agency, who was playing in the G League, to get those starting minutes as a point guard. So what does the future hold for Malachi Flynn? So there's a couple of things that we would have to discuss as it pertains to Flynn when we're going through this discussion. Number one, we need to discuss, is he actually good enough to play for the Raptors? Number two, we actually need to discuss if he's just not in the right setup, because there was undoubtedly talent here. Going into that 2020 NBA entry draft, the Raptors had the 29th overall pick. I did my big breakdown as usual, as I do on my main channel, Amateur Sports, and Malachi Flynn wasn't the top player on my list of potential draft picks. However, he was a top point guard. And I said if the Raptors wanted to go out and get a point guard, they should really look at Malachi Flynn. He was excellent in college, and it just seemed like you got a mini version, in terms of age, not size, a mini version of Fred VanVleet. Somebody who's a good defender, really good ball handler, good passer, can shoot the three ball really well, can get to the rim on occasion. It just seemed like the way the Raptors played basketball, Malachi Flynn really fit into that system. But we gave him opportunities in his rookie season, wasn't playing well, so we sent him to the G League where, he stepped up, played a lot better, in my opinion. Near the end of the season when we were tanking, I get it, we were tanking, he was getting a lot of play time, and he was playing really well. He won Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month in April. That's not nothing. That showcases, yeah, you're playing well there. But I really thought the season that just happened, I really thought he was going to step up and be the backup point guard, but he just didn't. He just didn't. And it's not for the lack of opportunities. I really hate the argument that he's not getting opportunities to do it. If he got played more, you'd be better. He had plenty of chances. He had plenty of opportunity. And it's not like the competition was high. His competition for backup point guard was a 46th overall pick who couldn't shoot in Delano Banton. But at least Banton brought energy, size, and something different. And he brought positivity to the court for a couple of months, then he fell off. But when he fell off, the Raptors would rather not even use a point guard than use Malachi Flynn. You see it in practice. If a guy's worthy of getting game time, they decide he wasn't. They signed Armani Brooks, like I said. But some people are convinced off these pro-am games that he is ready for a spot in the Raptors rotation. In theory, he should be ready. He should be ready in theory. The bottom stop pro-am game, he had 54. Sorry, not 55. Flynn beat up on amateur. I mean, yeah, he did. They're talking about the lack of depth of Fred VanVleet. Yeah, the reason there was a lack of depth in the point guard position is because Malachi Flynn wasn't stepping up into that role. Literally, if Fred VanVleet can succeed in this system with all these tall, lanky guys, Malachi Flynn surely should be able to do that as well. He's just got to go and do that. You've got all these great clips of Malachi Flynn in this offseason. You've got the ball and stop pro-am, which we talked about in the previous video that was on Amateur Clips. But there's also the crossover pro-am where he dropped 73 points. And I get he's playing against amateurs, right? I fully understand that. But this guy's a sharpshooter. This guy was hitting everything. We go deeper into this video. Second half when he was hot. He was literally just hitting absolutely everything. So this footage of him in the second half. This guy was literally hitting everything. There. Spot up three. Bang. Just dribbles up, shoots it. Dribbles up, shoots it. This is a guy who can shoot. Like, I don't care if this is just Pro-Am. He can obviously shoot the basketball. Maybe the defense isn't, like, tremendous here. But he can absolutely shoot. And we're getting some great footage of him doing that. We also have the crossover Pro-Am. Sorry, the Toronto Pro-Am. The Ball Don't Stop Pro-Am, where he was doing things like that. Like, here's another one. Just doing his thing. Tough shot. No problem. Got it. We have a good one here. Can you tell me passes to Flynn? Oh, no. He didn't. Anyways, you get my point. Lots of footage of him hitting tough shots. And even the season that just transpired, we have some good footage of him playing.
Flynn, terrific last night. Got it clean.
He started a couple games when Fred was injured. He was solid.
Rarely does he get out of that.
But, like, it's very inconsistent. It's very inconsistent for Flynn. That's just the biggest thing. This is all his possessions. You're not getting the best guys. But there's just an extreme amount of inconsistency for Flynn. Like, look at that. Like that just can't happen. That for a guy who's as talented a shooter as he is all night, all day to make that shot. That's gotta go in. That's gotta, like, you can't airball that at least, right? These are the consistency things that are affecting Flynn. And if he can get that three-point shot at some rate of consistency, players have to go defend him. He'll have more opportunities to play make, pass the ball. Because he gets opportunities with his team. He gets his chances. But he just doesn't execute consistently enough to be in the main rotation with the team at a consistent rate. So, like, that's nice. More of that. But it just doesn't, you just don't see that enough with him. A lot of the times, you just really can't have him on the floor, because even though he's a solid ball handler, he's an okay defender, the things he does well does not make up for the deficiencies he has in the scoring department on offense. And, you know, even though he's torching these amateurs and getting, like, these funny stat lines like this, it just needs to be done at a more consistent level. And I think if he was playing, like, really well in practices, he would be getting game time. But, you know, I watched pretty much every single Raptors game last season. There wasn't much that suggested Malachi Flynn could play consistently in the Raptors rotation. Again, I go back to it. It was so apparent to the Raptors that they had to go and sign Armani Brooks out of the G League to play those point guard minutes when Fred was hurt, because they couldn't trust Malachi Flynn to do it. That leads us into the second point here. Is it the Raptors that are the problem here? Is Malachi Flynn a good player, but the Raptors are not getting the most out of him? To that I say, like, I watch him play. A lot of open threes. Like, I don't care what system you're in. If you're just bricking open three after open three, that's on you. Maybe there's a worse team who wants a guy to run a ton of pick and rolls from point guard, where I think he'll have more success. Because granted, his specialty is the pick and roll, which the Raptors don't run it much. Don't give him a lot of pick and roll opportunities. And I get that. The best thing is the best trait maybe in his game. We don't let him use that a lot. And maybe another team would, but I struggle to see him being a consistent backup point guard on any significant team in the NBA. I don't know. I think this is his last shot. This is the last year on his contract before there's a team option. If this season is anything like the previous season, we're not going to take that team option. He's going to be a free agent. Like a few months ago I would have said, I can't see him getting it. Like, who else would want to get him, bring him in? Other than, like, Detroit or, like, Sacramento. But I don't know. I don't want this Pro-Am stuff to fool me or anything, but, like, there's been some impressive things about the Pro-Am. Hey, you don't just put up 55, as we saw with Taylor Horton-Tucker putting up 14 in the Drew League game. You don't just put up 54 in a Pro-Am game. You don't just put up 73 points. But also, Isaiah Thomas put up 81 in a Pro-Am game at the crossover last year. And he was another insignificant player in the NBA again. But overall, if I had to make a prediction, Malachi Flynn won't break into the Raptors rotation. They'll feel more comfortable running Scotty Barnes and Siakam as a backup point guard when Fred is off the floor. Let them run the show. Then play Malachi Flynn, unless he starts making shots consistently. That's the biggest thing. He starts making shots consistently, he's going to get that game time. Until he does that, it's not going to happen. If it doesn't happen this year, I think his Raptors career could be over. That's the thing. His Raptors career could be over unless he starts to hit some shots. This is something that we recorded from the Twitch stream and uploaded to the Clips channel on YouTube. If you're watching on the Clips channel, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing for more clips just like this all throughout the offseason. Don't be afraid to check out our live streams on Twitch either. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, we talk about NBA stuff for an hour or two and then go into some video game content as well. Basically a Q&A session. I always interact with the chat. Great spot to hang out and talk some ball. Hope to see you at the next one. But anyways, thanks for watching. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe to this one.